So, welcome back, everybody. This is Night Flight, and as you can see, Jason Christoff is back, and we will talk about his documentary that he did, and it is titled Planet Mind Control. Welcome, Jason.
Good, so good to be back with you, Judith. It's always a delight.
Oh, thank you so much. So, what brought this on? I mean, you have been working in the field of mind control, talking about it for a long, long time. That's a given. But what made you think, no, I have to do a documentary?
Yeah, I thought, I was trying to reach as many people as possible. And I know in film you can compress, difficult subjects into a lot shorter explanation, especially if you use visual aids. So I know if the world doesn't come up to speed on how they're being tricked, that we're most likely all doomed. So instead of riding the lubricated banana slide into the sacrificial volcano and cheering as I go, I thought, okay, I'm going to keep, like, I get up every day and try to save the world, try to save society, or try to save at least one children. I mean, my motto is he who saves or she who saves the most children wins at the end of the day. So I'm always head down for whoever's listening. I'm always working for you. I don't want anything to happen to you or your kids or your spouse, your wife, your husband, your partner. I don't care if you're gay or straight. It doesn't matter to me. I don't like you getting hurt unnecessarily. And the group that are using mind control against us, they were a kind of an old group, and they used to, many times in history, have hurt us physically. And I like that game better because you know who it is, right? You can see, okay, this person has violated my rights and my space, and I'm allowed to fight back. But with the mind control, which is what they use a lot, they trick us to hurt ourselves and enslave ourselves and bankrupt ourselves and kill or even um, hurt and kill our own children. I mean, I know that sounds far-fetched, but it's not. And if you watch the documentary, which you can for free at planetmindcontrol.com, you can watch the whole documentary for free. It'll be pretty obvious that they can trick you using very simple tactics in only minutes to make you do things that you would never ever believe you would do. And once you start understanding that, maybe we can get the world going in the direction it needs to go. And there was a lot of motivation in 2020 and 2021 and 22 to really push back against the system, but they've actually mind controlled us to nuzzle back into it and burrow back into the very system that really hurt and removed a lot of people from circulation over the past 5 years. So, using the same mind control tactics, they're up to their old tricks, and now they're into an energy scarcity, shortage, psychological operation, which has certain goals or certain boxes that it'll tick off for them in their ongoing drama to basically get us to acquiesce to our own perpetual slavery. So without making this documentary, and I think it is one of the best ever made for the average person who knows very little about mind control, or the average person who thinks they do. And even if you think you do, I don't think you've ever seen it so simply explained, so that it's very out in the open. This is how they do it. The entire film is a montage of Hollywood clips, so trust me, you will be entertained. All your stars are in the film, everything from Chris Hemsworth to Matt Damon to Adam Sandler to Will Ferrell are inside this film. So you can really learn from the Hollywood movies how easy it is to put people under a very negative mind control spell. So that's why I made it, because I don't want any unnecessary pain to come to anybody. Yeah, if your mother dies, your father dies, you get in a car accident, um, you lose a child. These things are God related in most cases. But the way our world is going today, this is all done through psychological manipulation, through our screens. And if we're not careful, and we're very close to the precipice at this point, where, a couple more years or even months under these forms of mind control without us knowing, we'll see humanity enslaved forever and maybe even extinguished. And the reason I say that is if you look into the ruling groups that organize the mind control, they really have a satanic view of humans and a satanic view of life in general, or what we call God. They're very anti life and anti human and anti God and anti happiness and anti reproduction and anti children. So we have to be very careful so that we do not adopt these inverted and, for lack of a better phrase, Saturnian or satanic philosophy, because a lot of us are starting to become card carrying Saturnian cult, satanic cult members. And while we're believing that we're sort of the foundational cornerstones of our community, so this is how effective mind control can be, where killers and pedophiles can be adorned as our heroes simply because we don't know how mind control operates.
Hmm. Um, when you talked about 2020 and the years that followed, I have the impression that their goal actually was to take it much further
Yeah,
in
I
terms
think
of controlling the population. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they're a little bit behind. I mean, there are documents that set out their timelines. They do seem a little bit behind, especially if you go to someone like, I think it's Bill Cooper's book, Behold the Pale Horse. I think that's what it's called. And there was sort of a timeline mentioned in there. We're a little bit behind the timeline, but they also know that they can't push it too far. I think they pushed it as far as they could, and then they understand psychologically that rapid change is something that has always got them in trouble. So they have to take a Fabianistic approach, step by step, death by a thousand cuts. The Fabian Society, their mascot or logo is actually a wolf in sheep's clothing. This is actually a political society that a lot of members of our government are card carrying members of. So we have to be very careful of the Fabian Society and the Fabianistic approach. So I think they pushed it to the point where, because they're behind schedule, to the point where they thought they were in a danger zone. And then they pulled back and they're trying to really hit the accelerator again, sort of like COVID 2.0, when you can smell they maybe introduced the lockdowns to us in 2021 and 2020 based on what they want to do. It could have been a preemptive psychological nudge to get us conditioned with the lockdown agenda, with the work from home agenda, with the government takes full control agenda, we'll tell you what to do agenda. All these are psychological conditioning stints, and you can see that the rumors that are floating around in regards to the gas shortages are very, repetitive in nature compared to how they attacked us in 2020 to 2024.
So do you think they are aiming for energy lockdowns?
I think that's their aim. I don't know if that they're going to get it. I mean, they like the electric cars. There would
Mm.
be no better way to implement electric cars than to say you're out of gas. There'd be no better way to implement 15 cities if there were no cars whatsoever. There would, you can see a lot of their boxes would be ticked if there was no gas. They couldn't really implement their fake meat and fake milk and fake cheese and cricket agenda if the fuel sources were in abundance. So they might say, we can no longer afford to farm because we've run out of gas for the tractors. So, but don't worry, we've set up the cricket farms and the 3D printed meat, and Bill Gates is here again to save you, and we're going to save you for your safety. You know, the cricket meat is safe and effective, and the 3D meat is safe and effective, and since you're all together now in such tight quarters because you can't leave your area, we got to make sure all your shots are up to date. And so again, it looks like control, but according to my research, all the avenues of control are cul-de-sacs that end with the same application of the armed dart Olympics, so that this group can really have a manageable size population to govern. And they're also pirates, so they're very interested in. I mean, if there's a landlord that owns 70 towers, 70 apartment complexes, and you manage to arm dart him and his wife and their kids off the planet. I'm not too sure if people are aware that in that case, where there is no one to bequeath your wealth to, the pirates that I allude to have already written the laws so that those 70 apartment complexes end up in the coffers of the state, which is they, in quotation marks, which is these ancient ruling families that we've talked about before here on the on the interviews. So this is another reason. So this 3D printed meat, it will be fatal. The fake milk, which of course I think they've already rolled out in Canada, or they tried to, and there's some backlash. There's fake cheese, there's fake milk, there's fake meat. These will all be fatalistic. Everything will be fatalistic because in the end, it's a cul-de-sac. It's not really about control. It's about control in order to get people more and more arm darts until they just fall off gradually. And all the property in the world comes back into the possession of these ancient ruling families, and they just kickstart what Pol Pot in, I think it was Cambodia, the
Mhm.
killing fields. He called it year zero. That's what this was his. This was his dream, to initiate the year zero, 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 and everything would start anew. So if you were born in, the fifth year of the civilization, you would just think that a 15-minute city is normal. You would think that electric cars are normal. You would think that being sterilized is normal, and that the ruling group are the only ones that reproduce. You would think that's normal, and every form of slavery, if you were born in year five, you would think it's absolutely normal. So people really need to understand that the good times are over. They're coming to an end either voluntarily or by dictate. And it's time we understand that the best path for us as a world is putting down all these things that weaken us, all the alcohol, all the vape sticks, all the things that titillate us and sedate us and tranquilize us to the harsh reality, because we're sort of infantilized humans at this point. What do they say? Good times produce weak men produce bad times produce strong men, and strong men produce good times. So it's about time. The bad times are upon us. It's time to turn off the Netflix and start focusing on these people that are trying to remove us. And we need to take up what Eustace Mullins said, a famous author who wrote about this 50 years ago. One of the solutions is to start hating them as much as they hate us. Stop believing their lies. Understand they will lie right to our face while intending us grave harm or death, which they are doing all the time. That the people in the positions of power that pretend to be our political leaders are actors. They're all in on the con. This is a WrestleMania event. The wrestlers like Hulk Hogan and Randy Macho Man Savage and the Iron Sheik and Undertaker and The Rock and all these other wrestlers, they're not separate. They're not, they don't really hate each other. It's scripted before they come out to entertain you, and they all get paid by the one top level boss.
Mm.
So
I
it's this is where we really have to get to as a society, or frankly, we're going in the sacrificial volcano. I've done what I can do, and most people, be honest with you, Judith, they won't even post a question like, "Why is there barge operators outside the Netherlands texting friends on the inside?" In the Netherlands saying, I have a tanker full of crude and gasoline and they won't let me dock. And if a person can't even post a question like that, that's the person that's responsible for what's coming. The weak, infantilized, obedient order followers that care too much about what everybody else thinks of them to the point where they're all going to die together, holding hands, or starving to death, or being forced to take the next round of arm darts.
mm. Yeah. Yeah, I remember a couple of many years ago, actually, um, Jesse Ventura said that politics these days is like pro wrestling.
Yeah, and if there was anybody who got fed a bit of truth, I mean, Jesse Ventura, who was the governor of Minnesota at one time. And I think he recounted actually that when he became governor, he got brought down in the basement, and whoever was there was like from some secret society tried to tell him how he was going to run Minnesota. So I think I'm going to try. I just remembered that. So I'm going to try and look that up once I'm done. But yes, it's definitely like pro wrestling. And what's funny, Judith, is that the average person has to understand, they already do, that when they watch a movie, even when you watch a movie, even
Yes.
when I watch a movie, we know it's fake, but we're titillated anyway. And can you imagine if you watch the documentary Planet Mind Control, you could imagine how watching things on TV that you know are fake and getting highly emotionally involved anyway might have already preconditioned your mind not even to care that your subconscious already knows it's fake. It's your conscious mind that doesn't care that your actors, that your politicians are fake because you're sort of being entertained, and somehow they've also tricked you to make you believe that this is the cornerstone of your life, is like some kind of entertainment titillation cycle. So everybody likes a good story, everybody likes a good villain, and I think that's why the ruling groups set up their narratives like the villain is Trump. Now, I mean, obviously he's a villain. And then we're gonna, with the wrestling match, we might have Xi Jinping come off the top turnbuckle with a flying elbow into the Iranian conflict. We could have the Russian wrestler Putin show up in a bearskin hat, and he flies off the third turnbuckle with a flying knee, and everybody sort of knows it's fake but enjoys it anyway. And this is how inappropriately the human animal has been designed, where no one's really warning us of these flaws in the human nervous system, that yeah, we sort of like it. We sort of like a good story because we don't really know what to do with ourselves in the sort of shitty and empty lives that the ruling group have manufactured for us. So, sort of like the emptier we are inside, the more soulless we are, the less direction our lives have, the easier we are brought into this wrestling match for entertainment purposes only.
So, do you think that this time around they try to shut it all down
I
and
th
bring everything into the fold?
I think they're gonna try, and I
Mm.
think I think there's a lot of rebellious people out there that say I won't comply, and I'm like, well, I understand, but who understands more is the ruling group. You can not. How are you not going to comply with no gas? right? How are you going to not comply with some lot of goods not even getting to your area anymore? They're not going to arrive. And then with your grocery stores empty, how are you going to not comply with that? Where they already for the last 100 years herded you into cities because they were entertainment centers, and you became addicted and softened by this entertainment-based lifestyle. I mean, you have to admit that they're going to corral quite a few people who might even know they're getting corralled, but what are you going to do? So I always tell people the answer is always understanding, that you can leave the cities at any time, and it's usually your own weakness and addiction to play, the comforts that, I know some people that would eat crickets and not travel just to get their lips plumped or their hair dyed or their nails done. Like, this is how domesticated this is how easily we like, and it hasn't got there by accident. Like, no one's doing these things by accident. When we've been softened, we've been domesticated, and they knew they had to domesticate us first, get us into the cities. Like, the cities aren't what people think they are. They're there so we don't have the answers we need. We don't have the soil to grow the tomato plants and cucumber plants, and we've lost our life skills. The only skill we have is rolling up to the Starbucks counter and saying, "Can I have a triple frappuccino?" Like, that's not a life skill. And inside the cities, if we take the strong males, like if we take the behavior required to survive in nature, compared to the behavior you need to survive in a city. To survive in a city, you got to be like a people pleaser. You got to be an order follower. You got to go along to get along. You got to be a good time Jim or a good time Sally, big smile on your face, going against all your natural programs that God put into you. When you're out in, like, if someone's trying to kill you in nature, God's law and natural law means, okay, he's trying to kill me. I'll tell him to stop. But in the end, if he insists, I have the right under God to hurt him or kill him because he's trying to do that to me.
Mhm.
So if you go today to the cities where they've conditioned people, like, I don't know if everybody's aware, but if you work for the government and they mandated the arm dart, it's exactly the same scenario that I just described earlier, 1 minute ago. And then everybody just sits there like lemmings, like fainting goats, where they just fall over, just, hoping they'll be killed last, or hoping they got a placebo when they're placebo. And then time passes, people pass away in the office tower, and you're just happy that it's not you now. Like, this is not the evolution. This is the de-evolution of the human animal. And I know people today that still work and receive checks from the same entity that tried to kill them. So you can see that there's a different adaptation cycle in the city that weakens us and softens us. And we've been in the city so long, we've lost our life skills. People don't know how to sprout a seed. They don't know that peppers have to be sprouted last week and tomatoes this week. And it takes longer for the peppers to sprout. And you have to sprout them inside your house. And you have to put so much water on them and put another plastic little cup on them so the moisture stays there so the sprout comes up a little faster. And then you have to plant at a certain time, and you got to make sure you plant the tomatoes a certain way or they crack. They'll just break as you plant them. No one knows this. I mean, I didn't know this either, Judith. I'm not saying I'm a farmer. I've engaged to a beautiful Latvian farmer who has taught me all this. And it's probably the only thing that's going to keep us alive if this whole thing goes through. They have a wood stove in their house, so we have some heat. We got lots of wood. We have, 3 or 4 years of stored food in the cold shelter. Um, and everybody thinks they're bumpkins or they're not having fun with their life. They haven't gone to the opera. They haven't gone to the World Series or the Stanley Cup Finals. And that's the trap, Judith. That's the cheese and the mousetrap that has got us here at Operation Eft at this point in time.
Mm. Um, yeah, that will be very interesting to observe how this is going to play out. You know, I I like to also observe what is going on with our stars and planets and cosmic energies. And when you mentioned, this stealing behavior, I rob as much as I can, and if I rob you blind, so be it. Um, it's interesting that we have in the second part of the year, and Jupiter will go into Leo, yeah, and Leo is the ego. And almost immediately, Pluto then goes into opposition to, no, Jupiter goes into opposition to Pluto in Aquarius. What does that mean? It means that a strong push for people to reclaim their own authority from a system that is completely detached from reality will come to the forefront. That tension will come, and we will start observing it in the second part. Also, what I found very interesting in relation to Iran is the Neptune-Saturn conjunction. Whenever these planets go conjunct, a lot of things happen. For instance, the Berlin Wall came up during a Saturn-Neptune conjunction. It also went down when we
Mm.
had a Neptune conjunction. Um, in Iran in 1953, during a Saturn-Neptune conjunction, we had the CIA supporting a coup that installed the Shah. And then Khomeini came in after the Shah, and his rulership came to an end when he died of natural causes in 1989. And now, in 2026, we had a very, very interesting Saturn-Neptune conjunction because it was in 0 degrees of Aries. And that is a Genesis moment, yeah, because everything starts in Aries. And the last time we had that particular, um, uh, uh, meaning in 0 degrees conjunction, that was 7,000 BC.
Mm. What
And
happened then?
what happened then? Hunter and gatherers slowly disappeared. The megalithic era came to the forefront. Yeah, so and agriculture was introduced. So that was a Genesis moment as well. And we had this Genesis moment on the 20th of February this year.
Well, I think that, as they say, it's written in the stars. Hopefully, we can catapult ourselves out of this huge disaster of corruption and immorality and unethical conduct. And of course, like the documentary shows, that we as humans basically mimic the leadership for survival purposes, because if the leader's doing it, it's automatically registers as safe. in the human mind, except in the US, we have role modeling that is infantilized at best and sort of dark at worst. And this is not the sort of role modeling you want to give to a population that's being polluted mentally through Netflix for 15 years and polluted chemically to the highest degree in the world. The United States population is the most toxic, most polluted, most chemically infused, non-natural, non-holistic, non-organic population in the world. You do not want to have a role model like this, which is more of a John Wick, F this and F that character, because it can just ignite a whole tsunami of inappropriate behavior in the hundreds of millions of people that live in the US. We have to be very careful about what our TVs are giving us to mimic, what our leadership, well, they're not leaders, they're misleaders and they're actors. But yeah, they're giving us negative role modeling purposely. I mean, it doesn't matter if you turn on Netflix to a war movie or turn on CNN to something DJT is talking about. It's just constant fear, terror, panic, war, and John Wick posturing, which is not good to keep any nation alive. No society can like prosper with these kind of inputs. It's impossible.
So, what would you recommend that people need to do now?
Well, I think we go back to the patterning. The pattern of this system is a disempowerment structure on a literal basis, is that you have power and these people know how to get it away with you, most times invisibly. So let's say they shut off the electricity. You can take some of your power back literally by going to Amazon right now, is because the trucks are still running. So let's take advantage now. Wink, wink. Okay, so try to get some of your power back before things get a little tighter to do that. But there, if you go to Amazon, you can find very inexpensive four-panel foldable chargers, solar chargers that have three USB ports so that if the power does go back, you and your family could still power some things with USB devices, maybe your razor, maybe your toothbrush, maybe some other small appliances or devices. So please, although that sounds very insignificant, it is a major theme behind the other modalities of, that solutions that I'm going to try to table here. You actually took some of your power back. You rely on the sun now for your some of your devices in an emergency situation. You can produce your own power, see? You can hold your own power. You can be the custodian of your own power. So another one of their tricks is, so they'll give you a 10 euro bill, and then you don't know because they don't teach you in school, but when they start printing the euro and giving it out to their friends to cover up a lot of their activities or bribe or get a lot of their agendas funded, you don't know that when their printing presses are going and funding criminal activity, that your 10 euro bill can only buy 9 euro worth of stuff that year. And then the next year it only buys eight. And then the next year it only buys seven. But in your wallet, it's still the 10 euro bill. So it's just like invisible power getting drawn. And we've talked about this, Judith. You know what I'm talking about, especially you. This is a black magic trick, which means I'm going to disempower you using etheric means, invisible means, sort of like wireless means. I'm going to steal the value of your $10 euro, leave the $10 euro in your pocket, and me, as the person who owns the printing factory, I'm going to take the euro I stole out the back door and I'm going to go buy gold and silver. And the gold and silver, someone goes, well, where did the spending power go to? Like, why is it that I can have a 10 euro bill and then I can only buy 8 euro worth of goods in a year? Well, again, it's an old black magic trick. It just went into the silver and the gold. So if you own some silver and gold, and I'll tell people as of today, Judith, what is today's date so we can mark this properly?
It's
Uh,
27th of March,
okay,
2026.
yeah, 27th of March, okay? So as of right now, silver is like $68 American per ounce, and gold is probably around 43.80 American an ounce, just so we can timeline this properly. It'll probably gonna go a little lower, but when say silver gets to say if it ever gets to 58 or 57, it would be a great time to jump in.
Yeah.
And if it ever got down like to say 3,700 or 3,600 for an ounce of gold, it might be a good time to jump in. Not right now. And then you can take your power back. You can definitely take your power back because their tricks will then benefit you because you're holding the gold or silver as savings and you're not holding the cash paper they know is under their magic spell to lose its value. It's going to, this $10 euro bill in 5 years, it might only buy you 2 euro worth of food. This is not a good way to save your money. They know that. So again, you're taking your power back. And then you go to your own budget. Are you buying any poisons that they've popularized and tricked you to consume that's reducing your energy, your power, right? So are you spending $30 on a bottle of wine? And if you look at alcohol, the study, the phrase alcohol is healthy in moderation, proven false and popularized by this ruling group. So you poison yourself. So you don't have as much energy to think these things through or get on a podcast or write an article or write a blog or even write a short question as a post. So they're going to trick you to steal your physical power. And
Mm.
I teach you exactly how to do they're doing that in the documentary. Now, if you think they can't trick you to poison yourself, trust me, you're way behind the eight ball here. Like you are Operation F to the nth degree. Like you got to come up to speed. All you need to do is right watch my documentary so you can understand. I even address alcohol specifically in the documentary and teach you how they trick you to be this alcohol obsessed person where everything like all you want to do is take an alcohol selfie on a Friday night and saying, "Hi, I'm poisoning myself tonight." You know, right? And so why do you think you always have to have the glass in the pitcher down at the vacation or like why do you even believe that having fun is equal to poisoning yourself back into the Stone Age? How did you get there? So I'm not mocking you, but if you want to know how you got there, go watch my documentary because I'll show you exactly how it's done. Now, one of the most popular poisons, which I will not mention unless you do, but I will not mention it, is talked about in the documentary as well. Most people will be completely upset that they've been tricked into consuming this mega psychoactive toxin. And that's okay, but you can still watch the documentary. So just know that a lot of their magic tricks is about stealing your power. So by tricking you to inject poison and, drink poison and eat poison, you're not going to have a lot of gas in this fight. We're not going to win this war with people that are crippled in motorized scooters. I'm just letting we can't charge the Bastille in the motorized scooter army. We have to be stronger, mentally more fit, physically more fit, and even growing food. So you don't have power when your main skill is I'm going to go to the grocery store and push my plastic card over the reader. That's not a skill. You're disempowered. So the power is they're going to say all we got today is the 3D printed meat and the cricket meal. And the
Mm,
power is no. And you ever notice that the word no is on backwards?
mm,
You turn on your power in lots of situations when you use the word no. And turning something on is about giving it electricity, giving it life. You say, no, thanks. I'm not going to take your cricket meal, 3D printed meat, or the fake milk made from locust gum or whatever it is. I'm going to go to my farm and I'm going to, I mean, food is stored sunlight, stored power from God. So you can get the sunlight during the day on your skin and power yourself like like a solar panel. And when the sun's down, God says, don't worry, I got you. I'm going to make sure the plants can absorb the sunlight. So just eat the plants when it's winter. Like, eat these batteries, these charged solar batteries that you call food. Put them in your mouth and you'll get the sun's photons when the sun is down. And then you're getting charged up. You're getting your power again. And everything they're going to serve at the grocery store, they process it in a way where all the sun's power is processed out of it. You're eating dead, devitalized food, which makes you dead and devitalized because then you overeat because your body's like, you didn't eat real food. You didn't get charged. You don't have any photons in the what you just stuck in your mouth. So there's many ways you get to bed on time. It's free. You're telling me you can't go to bed on time? You can't afford to go to bed on time, really? Right? Really? And if you go to bed on time, you'll wake up in the morning, you're like, wow, I got a lot more energy. And see, this is the game, folks. This is it. It's an energy war. So, yeah, the gas is energy, but they'll make you do everything to have you take your own energy out. You don't have access to God's energy, like this solar panel, little solar, this little portable solar charger for your phone. And Judith, I bought a big one that is on wheels that is even very heavy for me to put in and out of my condo if I want to go down the steps. And it's got this massive solar charger, and I can charge it right now, and it's going to last for a couple days. And it's so big that it can run my freezer and my fridge. So I won't lose my meat. And then if the sun's out and it goes past 2 days, I can go out with the solar charger and protect it. And it'll take all day for it to charge back up, but I can still do it. And I keep
mm,
my fridge closed. So I'm taking my power back by actually going back and accessing the original power provider, which is God. So all of this is about turning back to God and turning away from darkness or whatever word you want to use, Satan, Saturn, Beelzebub, whatever you want to say. We're in a society right now where we have to turn back to the natural power source on this planet, which is everything God provided.
mm. And another thing that is actually, yeah, tragic, I would say, even if there is food, a lot of people do not even know how to prepare it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they are so used to eating takeout.
Yeah, like with the Uber Eats. And trust me, here in Latvia, when it's sauerkraut season, I dread it. I don't know if anybody's ever made sauerkraut, but I have to sit there and risk my fingers. So, a good first aid kit is very important in Latvia because you literally have this flat board with these huge razor sharp, blades on them, and you have to take the cabbage and shred it. And then once you've done that and risk your arms to do that, then you get all the shredded cabbage and you have to pound it into oblivion for the better part of the day and sprinkle in your sugar and salt and spices into there and just to make the sauerkraut. So yeah, all they know is Uber Eats. They think that's a skill, and no one is born this skillless. They knew what they were doing. Come into the city, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Do the Broadway, go out for dinner, go to the ball game. Don't worry about growing food. We got it at the grocery store. You know, the water, we'll pump in the water for you. You don't need to live out in the country and have your own well. That's so antiquated. Leave that in the past. We got you here in the city as the horns stick up and as the tail comes out behind the suit and the hooves start to show through the $3,000 pair of shoes. You're like, people, this is what's going on. There's something on this planet with us that enjoys our suffering, and the more we move away from God, the more we suffer. And we got to get back, or this is going to go, this is going to go real bad, real fast right now.
Hmm. You know what I just thought when uh, and we talked about the that the pharaohs never really left, and the royal families. So, but I think some of them fell for their own propaganda. And here's why I say that. Shortly after this hype around the arm dart exploded, we got the message that King Charles and Catherine are both sick with cancer. Uh, King Charles, obviously, worse than her, but I cannot prove it that it would not have happened anyhow. That I don't know, of course, but it puts it into this time frame. That to me was interesting. So I'm not so sure that all of them are so clever as they think they are.
Yeah, I think if there was, we saw the Queen get ejected off the stage very, very early in the COVID. The coat of arms was changed on Buckingham Palace as soon as she got taken off the stage. And this group, because that Charles's group is sort of the primary evildoers on this planet. I mean, nothing would make more sense than to take them off the chessboard entirely and just have them lead lives behind the scenes because the most evilest of the group is in that circle in the UK royal circle and their friends down in Venice, the black nobility, right? So these are the most corrupt of the world. So, and they love to be hidden. To be honest with you, the black nobility, although we know the family's names, they're not household names,
Yeah.
right? Like the top gun of the ruling group that's visible is Charles. So sometimes I would wonder if it would be better if they would just, fake his death and clear him off the chessboard so that none of the top level bosses could be identified as household names or figures.
Mm. Yeah, but I think the
Open casket would be great if he goes down. But then again, I know this group, they're really good with the wax dummies. So who knows, Judith? I don't know about it, but I tell people, if you're looking for the top level bosses, look toward the Venetian black nobility and the royal family.
yeah, but in Charles' case, I think it is visible. You can see definitely that his health is deteriorating very rapidly. And hello.
There's my friend.
Yeah, it was about time that you come here.
Yeah, let himself be known.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think they fooled themselves to a certain degree and believed their own nonsense.
Yeah, I don't wish anybody harm, but this kind of, these kind of people, obviously cause a lot of suffering over many, many generations or even thousands of years or their bloodlines. So no love lost if that happened, unfortunately. And I'm sure he'll be back in another body eventually.
Yeah. So I watched your documentary, and I know last time you had this example where everybody was drawing a sun, yeah?
Yes.
And I remember I told you during the interview I had a completely different symbol in my mind. And then you explained to me, uh, yeah, you maybe you have to be in the room for that, that it is different if there is a screen. Um, and so the one with A.
We're still there, no?
Yeah, she stepped on she stepped on my,
I still see you.
yeah,
Yeah, I still see you. And yeah, it's still recording. So I think we're good.
yeah. Eh, why did you do that? Okay, forgot it. Yeah, she stepped on my computer and okay, anyway,
Yeah, you were talking about probably the
when they had to guess what time he set the clock to, yeah.
right.
And I can't recall if we played that one as well last time. Anyway, it was new to me, so I thought, okay, I give it a shot. I had a completely different time. My time was 1:35, yeah, so and not 4. But I'm not saying I cannot be. I know I can be mind controlled. Yeah, there is no doubt in my mind. But this particular two cases, it didn't work.
Well, people, when you watch the film, understand number one, pressure is a very big part of mind control. So
Hmm.
the pressure to make the decision. And if you notice both times withdrawing the sun or the request toward Howie Mandel to draw the sun, if people want to know what we're talking about, they'll have to go to the Planet Mind Control documentary. But the request from the mind control expert for Howie to draw the object and to pick a time on the watch, it was done in a way where the mind control expert said, close your eyes first. So closing the eyes accesses the subconscious because it's the subconscious now that's charged with the defense of the body. Because without eyesight, you don't have the ability to navigate visually. So now you have to give the best answer. You have to give the safest answer verbally, which it'll be detached from what you're looking at. So those small nuances can be the difference between success and failure in a hypnotist show. And you'll see most times where a hypnotist or a mind control expert is successful, whatever they're trying to draw out or the answer they're trying to draw out of their mind control victim, it'll be a very accelerated, pressure filled request for the response. So
Hmm.
those two things are, and of course, they're filming, there's a lot of stress there. You're not in the audience, you're not in awe of the whole audience situation, right? That adds to it a lot.
Mm.
Yeah.
And but when we watch movies, obviously we have our eyes open, but that works as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that kind of subtle thing would be like why they pay billions of dollars during the Super Bowl because your eyes are going to be open and what they're going to do is they're just going to put in like their Starbucks logo or their Pepsi logo or their Doritos logo on a repetitive basis so that when you're at the grocery store and you see the same logo and you get what's called a match. And when you match things subconsciously, when you see similar repetitive symbols, you have a magnetic affinity to acquire and move toward that repetitive symbol because repetition is about herd, like the repetitive content equates to the bigger herd or the bigger group in the subconscious, and we're pack animals, so we're always looking for the symbols or cues or hints of where the bigger group is. And again, they call it a match because a match is power, it's light, right?
Mm,
So they will put a lot of repetitive content, which are matches, inside your subconscious. Matches are also forms of energy. And when you see the match after the Super Bowl is done, when you see the Doritos logo or the Starbucks logo, you're going to have a magnetic affinity to move toward it because of your ancient and genetic need to find the bigger herd to feel safe.
mm,
So even though your eyes are open, that's the transport mechanism by which all advertising works with your eyes open, right? Is that you're going to get flood. The most repetitive content will always reflect where the bigger herd is. And since humans are pack animals, they migrate toward the most repetitive content. So again, when you're watching a commercial for Adidas, and then you walk by a sports store window and see the Adidas logo, you feel this weird neurological impulse that this is a safe purchase, right?
mm,
So this is how, and they can be very subtle, and I described how subtle in the documentary. But let's say where when George Bush Jr. and George Bush Sr. were both running at different times, obviously, for president of the United States when I was a kid, there was actually a beer called Bush Beer. And it was its repetition during the build up to the presidential elections. The repetition was off the charts. And I noticed this as a kid. We would sing the Bush Beer commercial every time it came on as kids, and we were singing it all the time. And then once Bush was elected president, the commercials went away. And people don't even really connect the dots there. And that's how obvious yet subtle it can be as well. And if people wouldn't think that a Anheuser-Busch beer commercial could actually get you to pick George Bush Jr. or Sr. in an election, if you think that couldn't be done, you're really behind the eight ball. You got to go see the Planet Mind Control documentary. It's as easy as that. I mean, it could definitely make you pick Bush.
mm,
Yeah.
mm. I I'm moving back briefly to the Genesis moment, and and I'm not saying that there are not sinister reasons behind the energy scarcity. Yeah, I think that is pretty obvious. But when I pull everything together and have all the puzzle pieces on the table, I sometimes wonder if this particular time, because we had this Genesis moment at the end of the day that we don't know of yet, we will use completely different energy forms. And I'm not talking solar and windmills. Yeah, that can be useful, definitely, but it is also a possibility. If it is probable, we will see. But yeah, if 1,000 years ago I would have told you, yeah, people will have running water and electricity and cars and fly around in planes, you would have thought I'm a nutcase. So, but it happened, and who knows where we will end up? in terms of, energy that we use.
Yeah, I always say hope for the best. Always
Prepare for
hope.
the worst.
Well, you can't really prepare for the worst, or you need like a tank, and just prepare the best you can without destroying yourself mentally. Trust in a higher power that we're here for a reason, and that not every single person is going to get behind what this group proposes. So I always keep hope in my back pocket, absolutely. And if I didn't have hope, why would I try to make the documentary? Why would I give updates every day on the internet? Why would I write my newsletter? Why would I? Of course I have hope. Or I just, get a big bag of cocaine and watch the mushroom clouds from the best vantage point at a penthouse somewhere. I mean, I'm not doing that. I've gone down that road as a young man. It's a road that ends in darkness. So I'll always try to bring the light no matter what.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, I'm happy that we ended it on a positive note. I
Absolutely, Judy.
Yeah, there are so many frustrating news every day and really, really dark things going down. And then when you, like me, also observe the African continent, what is going on there, then sometimes you think it's a total horror show.
It's planet mental asylum is another great word for it, but for the energies, I used to be a very dark man myself with the narcotics and the alcohol, and perpetual titillation was the cornerstone of my life, and I gave it all up to dedicate to making people's lives better. So if I can do it, and I used to be the star center fielder for Satan's softball team. So I just quit one day. He was very disappointed. He said, "We're gonna miss you." And I said, and then I just said, "I gotta go. I've had enough." But then when he heard that I was playing for God's team, he said, "Oh no, the best player. God's got him on his softball team now. So now we're going to have a bit of trouble with the game." So I tell people, no matter where you are or how inverted your behavior, belief system, if you work for the government or you don't, and you notice things aren't going good in the world, just try to clean up your own life of the toxins or the bad behaviors, and work on your own home field to start. Your own country, right? I have my own country called Jason. It's 2 feet by 2 feet, and I try to run it in a moral and ethical way. And then once you become the king of your land, the moral ruler, then you have the opportunity to go out and give guidance so other people can run their own countries in a moral and ethical way. And if we do that as a population, I think we can get where we need to go. We're certainly not going to get where we need to go with pedophiles and pedivores stealing our money and paying our friends to turn against us. We really have to look at that system and start to dismantle it. And only moral and ethical people, healthy body, healthy mind could ever do that. So if you want to do your part, just stop poisoning yourself. Turn the TV off a little bit. Keep your phone. It's a cancer causing device. Keep it a couple feet away from you. Get out in the sun. Grow some food. And just take care of, be a steward of yourself, be a steward of the earth. And we can come together collectively to make a big impact.
Yeah. And there, one of the reasons why people probably don't see the need to do that has also to do with the savior programming. People still believe that some way or another, they will be saved.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I mean, it is one of the pillars of our disempowerment. We're always, we'll vote, we'll stand in line and say, "That's my contribution." Now back to back to Netflix. I did my part. Back to the pub. No, that's not your part at all. They tricked you. Giving your power away is their trick. Again, disempowerment is their overall governing trick. So, don't vote. Don't comply whatsoever. Pedophile one or pedophile two, there's a third option. Just rule yourself. You don't have to acquiesce to being ruled by psychopaths. You can just say, I'm not participating. They're going to do what they're going to do. You got to do what you got to do. You walk the right hand path. They walk the left hand path. The more people we have on the right hand path in life, the better it is for us, and the more chances we're given to win down here and have an age of morality and ethics come back to this planet. It's going to be very important.
Hmm. Yeah, Jason, thank you so much for coming and always a great time with you talking. And yeah, guys, that was it. Night flight for today, and we see you on the next one.